The champagne flute slipped from Naomi Bennett's fingers, shattering against the hardwood floor of her dining room. Tiny crystal fragments scattered like stars around her bare feet. Her husband Marcus and best friend Eliza froze across the table, their faces masks of guilt and fear. "Say it again," Naomi whispered, her voice barely audible over the hum of the air conditioner. "I want to hear you say it one more time." Marcus reached for Eliza's hand beneath the table, a small gesture, but Naomi caught it. 20 years of friendship with Eliza had made her attuned to every subtle movement, every micro-expression. "We didn't plan this," Marcus said, his voice cracking. "You have to believe that." Eliza's hand moved instinctively to her still flat stomach. "I'm 12 weeks along, Nay. We wanted to tell you before I started showing." Naomi's gaze fixed on her best friend's abdomen, where the child of her husband now grew. The room seemed to tilt sideways, reality warping around her. 12 weeks, Naomi repeated, doing the mental calculation. "So, you were sleeping with my husband while helping me plan our anniversary party?" The silence that followed was her answer. 6 months earlier. "And that's when I told the client we couldn't possibly meet that deadline unless they wanted absolute garbage." Naomi laughed, sliding another glass of Pinot Noir toward Eliza across the kitchen island. Their Friday night ritual remained unchanged after 2 decades: wine, takeout, and unfiltered conversation in Naomi's kitchen while Marcus worked late. The tradition had survived college, careers, Naomi's marriage, and countless life changes. "Your face when you're in don't mess with me mode is legendary," Eliza said, accepting the wine. "Remember when you made Brad Hoffman cry during that group project senior year? He deserved it. He tried to take credit for your research." "My night in business casual." Eliza smiled, but something in her expression seemed strained. Naomi paused, studying her friend. "Everything okay? You've seemed off lately." Eliza took a long sip of wine. "Just work stress. The gallery's new exhibition is killing me." "Well, that's why God invented wine and Thai food," Naomi said, pulling containers from the delivery bag. "Speaking of which, where's Marcus? I thought he'd be home by now." He texted that the Westlake proposal needed revisions. Eliza's response came too quickly. Naomi's phone chimed with a message from her husband. "Still at the office. Don't wait up." "Architects," Naomi sighed. "I swear that man would sleep at his drafting table if I let him." Eliza suddenly stood, gathering her purse. "I should actually get going. Early meeting tomorrow. But we've barely started our wine. And you never bail early on Thai night." Rain check. Eliza was already moving toward the door. "I promise I'll make it up to you." After Eliza left, Naomi sat alone in her kitchen, surrounded by too much food and an uneasy feeling she couldn't quite name. Marcus and Naomi had met in graduate school, he studying architecture, she pursuing her MBA. Their courtship had been a whirlwind of intellectual conversations and stolen kisses between classes. 12 years of marriage had softened their edges, created comfortable routines, but beneath it all remained a foundation of mutual respect and shared dreams. Or so Naomi thought. The first subtle shift came when Marcus's firm partnered with Eliza's art gallery on a new cultural center downtown. Suddenly, they were working together frequently, their professional worlds overlapping for the first time. "It's great having Eliza on the project," Marcus mentioned casually over breakfast one morning. "She really understands the aesthetic we're going for." Naomi smiled. "My 2 favorite people working together. Just don't let her talk you into anything too avant-garde. The city council will have a conniption." "She's more practical than you'd think," Marcus replied, his eyes focused intently on his coffee. "She sees things differently." The comment lingered in Naomi's mind throughout her day. "Differently than me?" she wondered. "I need your honest opinion," Eliza said one Saturday afternoon as they browsed through a boutique. She held up a sleek black dress with a plunging neckline. "Too much." Naomi raised an eyebrow. "For the gallery opening? It's perfect." "Not the opening. I have a date." Naomi nearly dropped the scarf she was examining. "A date? With whom? You haven't mentioned anyone." "It's new," Eliza replied, examining herself in the mirror. "I'm not getting my hopes up." But serious enough for the femme fatale dress, Naomi teased. Come on, details. I've been listening to you complain about the dating scene for years. I deserve this. Eliza turned away, hanging the dress back on the rack. Actually, I think I'll go with something else. This feels like too much pressure for a first date. That night, Naomi mentioned it to Marcus as they prepared for bed. Eliza has a secret date. She wouldn't tell me anything about him. Marcus fumbled with his watch, dropping it on the dresser with a clatter. Really? That's good for her. I'm worried, Naomi confessed. She's been acting strange lately. Canceling plans, being evasive. Do you think something's wrong? People need privacy, Naomi, Marcus said sharply. Maybe she's just tired of sharing every detail of her life. Naomi stared at her husband, startled by his tone. Where did that come from? I'm concerned about my friend. Sorry, he mumbled, climbing into bed and turning away from her. Long day. I'm just tired. The clues accumulated slowly, like snow before an avalanche. A business trip to Chicago, where Marcus returned with a story about a restaurant Naomi later discovered had been closed for renovations that week. Eliza claiming food poisoning to cancel their monthly book club, then appearing in the background of an Instagram post at a wine bar downtown that same evening. A unfamiliar cologne lingering on Marcus's shirts that Naomi initially dismissed as a new office scent. Text messages that made Marcus smile in a way Naomi hadn't seen in years, quickly hidden when she entered the room. And most telling, the growing distance between them all. Marcus working later, Eliza becoming harder to reach, conversations that died when Naomi joined them. Yet still she trusted. Still she believed. These were the two people she loved most in the world, the man she'd built a life with and the woman who had been her constant since college orientation, when they'd bonded over being the only two students who showed up prepared with actual notebooks and pens. The night before the revelation dinner, Naomi found herself alone again, Marcus at another client meeting. She poured a glass of wine and opened the shared calendar on her laptop to schedule their summer vacation. As she scrolled through the previous months, patterns emerged that her trusting heart had refused to see. The late nights, the weekend consultations, the business trips that aligned perfectly with Eliza's gallery travels. For the first time, she allowed herself to acknowledge the possibility that had been growing in the shadows of her marriage. Her hand trembled as she reached for her phone and opened the location-sharing app she and Marcus had installed years ago, in case of emergencies. The blued of her husband's phone wasn't at his office downtown. It was at Eliza's apartment. 12 weeks, Naomi repeated, doing the mental calculation. So, you were sleeping with my husband while helping me plan our anniversary party? The silence that followed was her answer. I think I'm going to be sick, Naomi whispered, gripping the edge of the dining table for support. She had invited them for dinner, setting the table with their wedding china, lighting candles, preparing Marcus's favorite meal. She had planned to confront them calmly, to ask for the truth with dignity. But when they arrived together, not even pretending to come separately, something broke inside her. And then, before she could even begin the conversation she'd rehearsed all day, Eliza had blurted out, "We have something to tell you." Now, standing amid shattered glass and shattered trust, Naomi fought to breathe. How long? She asked, her voice unnervingly steady. Marcus and Eliza exchanged glances. 8 months, Marcus admitted quietly. 8 months. While Naomi had been working 60-hour weeks to make partner at her firm. While she'd confided in Eliza about her fears that her marriage was growing distant. While they'd celebrated her 40th birthday, Marcus giving a toast about his beautiful, brilliant wife that had brought tears to everyone's eyes. And you're keeping it, Naomi stated, looking at Eliza's hand still protectively covering her stomach. Yes, Eliza whispered. We are. We didn't want to hurt you, Marcus added, reaching toward Naomi across the table. She recoiled from his touch. Don't you dare. Don't you dare say that to me after fucking my best friend for 8 months in our bed. Eliza's eyes widened. We never. Stop lying. Naomi shouted, slamming her hand on the table. I found her earring in our bedroom. The little pearl one I gave you for your 35th birthday. The color drained from Eliza's face. Did you think I wouldn't notice? Naomi continued, rage building with every word. Did you think I was so trusting, so pathetically blind that you could just... Her voice broke. Marcus stood. Naomi, we need to talk about what happens next. About the house, the finances. What happens next? Naomi echoed, a strange calm washing over her. She looked between them, her husband and her oldest friend, the architects of her devastation. What happens next is I want you both out of my house in the next 60 seconds, or I'm calling the police and reporting trespassers. Be reasonable, Marcus began. 55 seconds. Eliza grabbed her purse. Come on, Marcus. Let's go. My lawyer will contact you, Naomi said as they moved toward the door. Until then, don't call me, don't text me, don't email me. You're dead to me. Both of you. As the door closed behind them, Naomi sank to the floor among the broken glass, finally allowing the tears to come. The next morning, Naomi called in sick to work for the first time in 8 years and made 2 appointments, one with the city's most ruthless divorce attorney and one with a locksmith. By afternoon, she had new locks, a preliminary divorce strategy, and a suitcase of Marcus's essential belongings waiting on the front porch. The rest of his things would go into storage or a bonfire. She hadn't decided yet. Her phone had been buzzing constantly. Marcus, Eliza, concerned friends who'd received cryptic texts from one or both of the betrayers. Naomi ignored them all, focusing instead on the practical steps of dismantling her life. When the doorbell rang at dusk, she opened it to find not Marcus or Eliza, but Eliza's younger brother, Cameron. Before you slam the door in my face, he said quickly, I want you to know I had no idea. None of us did. Naomi studied his face, so similar to his sister's, yet markedly different in its current expression of genuine concern. Cameron had always been the family rebel, the unpredictable one compared to Eliza's apparent stability. What do you want, Cam? To make sure you're okay. And to tell you that what they did is unforgivable. Our parents are horrified. No one's taking their side in this. The kindness in his voice nearly undid her carefully maintained composure. I'm not okay, she admitted. I don't know if I ever will be again. Can I come in? I brought whiskey and ice cream. Despite herself, Naomi smiled slightly. The traditional betrayed spouse care package? I Googled how to help friend after husband cheats with sister. He gave her a lopsided smile. The results were surprisingly specific. She stepped aside to let him in. Over the following weeks, as legal papers were filed and assets began the process of disentanglement, Naomi cycled through grief, rage, and periods of frightening numbness. The story had spread through their social circle like wildfire. Friends were forced to choose sides, with most rallying around Naomi while a few claimed neutrality, which, to Naomi, felt like another betrayal. They want you to forgive them, Cameron told her during one of his now regular visits. He had appointed himself her unofficial guardian and information pipeline, keeping her updated while protecting her from direct contact. Forgive them, Naomi repeated flatly. For sleeping together behind my back for 8 months? For making a baby together while pretending to love me? For stealing 20 years of friendship and 12 years of marriage? They're saying it was real love that they couldn't deny, that they never meant to hurt you. Cameron rolled his eyes. Eliza's always been good at rewriting history to make herself the protagonist. And what does your family think about all this? Mom can barely look at Eliza. Dad's trying to stay neutral for the sake of his future grandchild, but he's furious. The extended family is divided. Some think you should forgive her because family is forever or some bullshit. Naomi poured herself another glass of wine. And you? What do you think? I think my sister and your husband are selfish cowards who took the easy path of deception instead of being honest adults. I think they want forgiveness not because they deserve it, but because it would relieve their guilt. He paused. And I think you deserve so much better than either of them. 3 months after the dinner revelation, Naomi sat in her attorney's office reviewing the divorce settlement. Marcus had initially tried to fight for the house, claiming his architectural expertise had increased its value, but faced with evidence of his infidelity and the judge's clear disfavor, He had eventually conceded. Sign here and here, her attorney indicated. Once filed, you'll officially be divorced in 60 days. The pen felt heavy in Naomi's hand. 12 years of marriage reduced to a signature on legal documents. Is he here? She asked. In another conference room with his attorney. You won't have to see him. Naomi straightened her spine. Actually, I want to see him. Alone. Her attorney frowned. I strongly advise against that. Just for 5 minutes. There's something I need to say to him. Against her lawyer's better judgment, Marcus was brought to her conference room. He looked thinner, his eyes hollowed by stress, but Naomi felt nothing at the sight of him. Not anger, not love, not even hatred. Just a vast emptiness where her feelings for him had once lived. Thank you for agreeing to talk, he began, his voice eager. I've been trying to reach you. I'm not here to listen to you, Naomi interrupted calmly. I'm here to say something, and then I never want to speak to you again. Marcus fell silent. For months, I've been asking myself what I did wrong. Was I not attentive enough? Did I work too much? Was I not exciting anymore? She met his gaze steadily. But I've realized those are the wrong questions. The right question is, what kind of man cheats with his wife's best friend and then expects forgiveness? Naomi, I gave you 12 years of my life, Marcus. I supported your career, loved you through failures and successes, planned a future with you. And in return, you gave me betrayal of the cruelest kind. Her voice remained even, controlled. You could have left. You could have told me you weren't happy. You could have asked for a divorce. Instead, you chose to destroy me from within my own life. Marcus's eyes filled with tears. I never meant. Save it. Naomi cut him off. I'm not interested in your excuses or your guilt. I just want you to know something. One day, when Eliza does to you what both of you did to me, and she will, because people who betray once will betray again, I want you to remember this conversation. I want you to remember that you threw away someone who would have died before hurting you the way you hurt me. She stood, gathering her purse and the signed papers. I hope the two of you are very happy together. Until you're not. As she reached the door, Marcus called after her. I'm sorry, Naomi. For whatever it's worth, I'm truly sorry. She turned back one last time. It's worth nothing, Marcus. Just like your promises. The confrontation with Eliza came unexpectedly, 2 weeks later. Naomi was leaving her therapist's office when she spotted her former friend sitting on a bench in the small park across the street. Eliza's pregnancy was obvious now, her rounded belly visible beneath a flowing maternity dress. Naomi's first instinct was to turn and walk in the opposite direction. But something stopped her, perhaps the realization that she would never be free until she faced this final demon. Crossing the street, she approached the bench. Eliza looked up, her expression shifting from surprise to nervous hope. Naomi, I've been trying to reach you. I know, Naomi replied, remaining standing. I've been ignoring you. Can we talk? Please? I miss you so much. Naomi laughed a sharp, bitter sound. You miss me? While carrying my husband's child. That's rich. Even for you, Eliza. It wasn't supposed to happen this way, Eliza said, her hand moving to her belly in that protective gesture that made Naomi's stomach turn. We tried to fight our feelings, but... Stop, Naomi commanded. Just stop. Do you hear yourself? We tried to fight our feelings? What is this? Some romance novel where the star-crossed lovers overcome all obstacles. This is my life you destroyed. My marriage. My trust. Eliza's eyes filled with tears. I know we hurt you terribly, but we've all been friends for so long. I was hoping that maybe, eventually, you could forgive us. For the baby's sake, if nothing else. He or she should know their Aunt Naomi. The audacity was breathtaking. Naomi felt a surge of rage, so powerful it momentarily robbed her of speech. When she found her voice again, it was deadly calm. Let me be perfectly clear. I will never forgive you. I will never be Aunt Naomi to the child you conceived with my husband while pretending to be my friend. You are not the victim here, Eliza. You are the villain. That's not fair, Eliza protested, tears spilling down her cheeks. Love isn't always convenient or simple. Sometimes it finds you at the wrong time with the wrong person. Love. Naomi repeated incredulously. Is that what you call lying to my face for 8 months? Sleeping with my husband in my bed? Planning your future together while watching me plan mine? That's not love, Eliza. That's selfishness and betrayal of the worst kind. We never wanted to hurt you, Eliza insisted. Then you should have stayed away from my husband. Naomi finally shouted, her composure cracking. People in the park turned to look, but she was beyond caring. You had 20 years of my loyalty, my trust, my love as a friend. And you threw it away for what? For Marcus? Was it worth it? Eliza stared at her, speechless. Let me tell you something about the man you're so in love with, Naomi continued, her voice dropping to a near whisper. 3 years into our marriage, he cheated with a colleague. I forgave him. I believed him when he swore it would never happen again. I trusted him. She laughed bitterly. And now he's with you, another cheater. Perfect for each other, really. The color drained from Eliza's face. He never told me that. Of course he didn't. Just like he'll never tell his next conquest about you. Naomi shouldered her bag. Goodbye, Eliza. I truly hope he was worth losing everything else for. As she walked away, Eliza called after her. He loves me, Naomi. We're getting married after the baby comes. We're going to be a family. Naomi didn't turn back. She kept walking, each step carrying her further from the ruins of her old life. 1 year later, Naomi adjusted her sunglasses as she stepped out of the taxi in front of the upscale restaurant. The San Francisco sunshine felt good on her skin after the long New York winter. Her new job at a prestigious consulting firm had brought unexpected opportunities, including this business trip to the city she'd once called home. The maitre d' led her to a table on the terrace with a view of the bay. Your other party has already arrived, Miss Bennett. Cameron stood as she approached, his smile warm. What had begun as companionable support during her darkest days had gradually evolved into something neither of them had expected. Their weekly check-ins became dinners, then movies, then weekend hikes, a friendship in its own right, separate from his connection to Eliza. When Naomi received the job offer in New York, Cameron had been the first person she told. And when she decided to accept it, he'd helped her pack, driven her to the airport, and 2 months later, surprised her with a visit. You look amazing, he said now, kissing her cheek. New York agrees with you. It's the walking, she replied, taking her seat. Nobody drives, everyone's always rushing somewhere. I've lost 10 pounds just commuting. They ordered drinks, falling into easy conversation about her job, his recent promotion, mutual friends. It felt natural, comfortable, a stark contrast to the emotional turbulence that had defined her life a year earlier. So, Cameron said eventually, are you ready for some news from the home front? Naomi tensed slightly. She had maintained her vow of no contact with Marcus or Eliza, though occasional updates filtered through mutual friends or social media. Hit me, she said, taking a fortifying sip of her martini. The wedding's off, Cameron stated without preamble. Marcus moved out 3 weeks ago. Naomi blinked, absorbing this information. What happened? According to my mother, who heard it from Eliza during one of their still-strained phone calls, Marcus has been emotionally distant since the baby was born. Working late, traveling for business, the usual signs. Cameron watched her face carefully. Sound familiar? A hollow laugh escaped her. History repeats itself. The irony gets better. Apparently, he's been seen around town with a woman from his office. A junior architect, recently hired. Naomi shook her head, a complex mixture of emotions washing over her. Vindication, a whisper of lingering pain, but mostly just weariness at the predictability of it all. And Eliza? Devastated. Playing the victim. Conveniently forgetting that this is exactly how she got him in the first place. Cameron's tone held little sympathy for his sister. Mom's helping with the baby, though. Little Emma is innocent in all this.
Emma.
They had a daughter. The information landed strangely in Naomi's consciousness, not with the sharp pain she might have expected a year ago, but with a distant, muted ache, like an old injury in cold weather. How do you feel about it? Cameron asked gently. Naomi considered the question carefully. I thought I'd feel vindicated, or happy that they're suffering like I suffered. But honestly, I just feel free. She met his eyes. Their drama isn't my drama anymore. Their choices aren't my problem. That's my girl, he said softly, reaching across the table to take her hand. Always stronger than anyone gives you credit for. The waiter arrived with their appetizers, momentarily pausing the conversation. When he departed, Naomi found herself smiling, a genuine, unburdened smile. You know what's funny? A year ago, I couldn't imagine surviving what they did to me. I thought I'd never trust anyone again, never feel happy again. She squeezed Cameron's hand. And now here I am, with a new job I love, in a city that excites me every day, having dinner with. She hesitated. With, he prompted, his eyes warm. With someone who showed me that betrayal isn't the end of the story. That sometimes, unexpected beginnings rise from the ashes. Cameron's expression softened. I never planned to fall for my sister's ex-best friend. Talk about complicated family dynamics. Is that what happened? You fell for me? Naomi asked, her voice teasing but her eyes serious. I think you know the answer to that, he replied quietly. But I also know you're still healing, still finding your way forward. I'm willing to wait, to be whatever you need, friend, confidant, something more. No pressure, no expectations. Naomi felt a rush of gratitude for this man who had appeared in her darkest hour and shown her nothing but patience and respect. And if what I need is a fresh start completely independent, then I'll miss you like hell, but support you anyway, he answered honestly. Your happiness matters more to me than my own wishes. The contrast between this selfless statement and the selfish choices Marcus and Eliza had made struck Naomi forcefully. This was what love actually looked like, putting someone else's well-being above your own desires. I don't know what the future holds, she said finally. But I do know that meeting for dinner, whenever I'm in town, isn't enough anymore. Hope flickered in his eyes. What are you saying, Naomi? I'm saying, maybe it's time you consider job opportunities in New York. She smiled. Strictly as a career move, of course. Of course, he agreed, his answering smile radiant. Purely professional considerations. As the sun began to set over the bay, painting the water in shades of gold and crimson, Naomi felt the final pieces of her broken heart knitting together. Not into the same heart she'd had before, that was gone forever, but into something new, something stronger for having been shattered and rebuilt. The betrayal would always be part of her story, a scar she would carry. But it no longer defined her. It was simply one chapter in a longer narrative that continued to unfold in ways she could never have imagined during those dark days a year ago. To unexpected beginnings, Cameron proposed, raising his glass. Naomi clinked her glass against his. And to learning who truly deserves forgiveness, and who never will. As twilight descended over San Francisco, Naomi Bennett looked toward the future with clear eyes and an open heart, not despite her past, but because of it.
And that wraps up today's story. Now we want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments, and let's see how far these stories reach. If this story moved you or gave you chills, give it a like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. One last thing, rate the story from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your feedback helps us bring you even better ones next time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being part of this storytelling journey.